Chapter 26. Let's Get Married. The spring season came a little earlier in Rats, the capital of the Berg Empire, which was located in the southernmost province of Karlsbar. Arvis estate was starting to bear buds as May came, but the whole city of Rats was already awash with the sweet scent of roses. Matias had a sudden glimpse of thought over the changing of the season while passing through the gardens of the Crown Prince's palace. He suddenly halted in his steps, and the other officers who were trailing from behind stopped as well.
What's up?
No.
Matias answered short.
Nothing.
He smiled a little, the tip of his lips lifting. The brief silence broke after Matias got his stride back. The young aristocratic guard officers continued to converse playfully. Their faces and voices glowed with excitement while discussing how to spend this fine spring weekend, and roughly met with a very similar conclusion altogether. Party, horse racing, alternatively, having a spring date with a lover.
Our captain will leave his fiancée and spend a lonely spring.
The horde of officers giggled in a bunch when one of their peers cracked a joke. Matias just casually grinned and gave a faint chuckle in response to his men's jesting. The engagement ceremony between Duke Herhart and Lady Brandt, which was hosted at the end of last summer, took place successfully. Over several weeks, the couple, who had been officially betrothed, had become a hot topic of buzz within the society. However, Matias didn't feel much of a change from his everyday life. A week after his engagement, he was assigned to the Berg's army garrison and had to leave for the capital the day after. Meanwhile, Claudine, who had been staying in Arvis estate, returned to the Brandt's estate, which was situated in the center of Karlsbar, a metropolis that was a long distance away from the capital city of Rats. So, nothing had changed from their previous mode of living, except for the fact that their engagement had been made public. During the social season, Claudine stayed at the mansion the Brandts had in Rats for a while. It was nothing new for her. However, since she had been a regular visitor to the estate on a seasonal basis for quite some time before then, everything else basically remained the same, except that they now had a definite official status as each other's fiancés, which was the only thing that had altered in their life.
I'm about to finish my military service soon. What about you, Matias?
A fellow officer who was strolling alongside him posed a question that drew everyone's attention to Matias.
Currently, I'm thinking about extending it for another year.
As soon as he said that, those around him seemed to be taken aback by his surprising answer.
Aren't you going to get married and focus on the family business?
The wedding? Maybe next year.
Is it because the hot dish over Duke Herhart's marriage has eased in social circles?
So you want to postpone the wedding?
Matias flicked his chin instead of answering. Rather than calling it a postponement, things went that way naturally, like it was supposed to. He intended to stay in the capital for another year. At the same time, the Brandts wished for their daughter to spend her honeymoon in Arvis with her husband. When the Brandts first requested for the engagement to be tabled for one more year, the Herhart family consented without hesitation. After leaving the imperial palace, Matias returning to his home. In terms of age, the old brick mansion, which was located in the heart of Rats, was the second oldest building among the Herhart family's properties after the Arvis mansion on their estate. That mansion served as the family's headquarters for generations. The two madams are here, reported the servant as he approached Matias, who had just got out of the car.
My mother and grandmother?
Yes, the madams arrived this morning. They said they came here to attend the forthcoming wedding of Her Majesty the Crown Princess.
Matias nodded his head and slowly entered the mansion. The princess, whose pride had been crushed after losing the seat of the Duchess Herharts, was eager to find another running mate so that she could proceed with the wedding ceremony as she planned. Thereafter, the title of her spouse fell to the Grand Duke of a nearby duchy with the same social standing as the Herharts.
It's been a while, Matias.
Katharina von Herhart, waiting for Matias to enter the foyer, greeted him with a bright smile and wide-opened arms.
Son, we can see your face only when we come here like this.
While his mother Elsie stayed the same as always, Matias approached the two with a warm smile on his face.
The weather this evening is so nice, Layla.
Kyle walked up to her with a jolly face. Layla, who was busy helping Bill clean his cart in the garden, quickly turned her head towards the voice. So did Bill, who was holding a shovel.
Let's get married.
Kyle shouted. After hearing it over and over again, his marriage proposal no longer came as a surprise, and it sounded more like a daily morning greeting these days. After having taken a slight pause for a moment, Layla and Bill nonchalantly returned to their work.
Hello, Kyle.
Layla greeted him brightly.
I'm not getting married.
Layla spoke in a friendly tone afterward, emphasizing her firm rejection of his proposal.
Sigh.
Bill heaved a sigh. He seemed to be feeling the pain of Kyle's broken heart, but in contrast, Kyle appeared unfazed by Layla's constant rejection. He just smiled gently and volunteered to help her without being asked.
Fine, I'll accept your rejection today. I'll ask you again tomorrow. Then.
Enough. Don't ask anymore.
No, I will keep asking. A person's mind is bound to change.
With the way he was behaving, it wasn't an exaggeration to say that Kyle's shameless and stubborn spirit was maybe the toughest in the whole Berg Empire. Kyle Etman began to propose in the late summer, and stuck to his guns until the seasons changed several times. When Bill first found out that Kyle had proposed to Layla, he believed it was most likely due to one of the two possible causes. Either that kid was drunk or he was insane. That's why Bill didn't smack him in the head with the shovel after all. But the following day, Kyle showed up again with a very sane face and repeated the same thing.
How many times has it been since then?
Kyle stopped by the cottage without missing a day throughout fall, winter, and even this spring, saying the same thing every time, only to be rejected on every one of those visits. At first, Bill was cheering for Layla, but he began to feel sorry for Kyle and his plight as time went on. If it weren't for his father, Bill would have been excessively vocal with Kyle to get him to stop his doing. Bill, however, opted not to speak more since Dr. Etman had granted his son a green light.
How about sending Layla off to college?
Said Dr. Etman when he paid a visit to Bill at his cottage last fall. Bill's heart suddenly slumped like a dreary chimney pot when he replied hesitatingly,
I can't afford it.
Dr. Etman's face was lit up with a smile. He continued,
If our children have feelings for each other and want to become a couple, it would be good to get them married and send them to college together.
Bill stared blankly at the doctor in stupefaction. He couldn't believe what he had heard, though he was thrilled with the offer. To him, Layla was the most wonderful child in the world. Yet, he soon realized that the rest of the world had its own set of standards that he couldn't grasp. One of those was regarding the Etman family's social standing in Carlsbad society. Dr. Etman seemed to understand his befuddlement, so therefore, he spoke first.
Kyle said that Layla is the one person who could bring out the best in him, so he wants to live by her side as a decent person for her.
Bill was reasonably surprised as he learned that the young boy who said something like that to his father.
It was a very sincere thought that came from youngsters who are still in their adolescence. But Doctor, Layla is...
Bill clammed up, but Dr. Etman's expression grew kinder.
I don't require his future bride to come from a wealthy family or have a perfect upbringing, because I know that Layla is a good child even if she doesn't have such privileges.
He said so with a smiling face that resembled that of his son.
If Kyle doesn't change his mind till he decides on his career path next year, I'd like to allow them to be together. How about you, Mr. Remmer?
Deep down in his heart, Bill Remmer was on a cloud nine and felt grateful that he was willing to carry Dr. Etman, whom he regarded to be an angel in human form. Kyle's stupid proposal may have ended up being a blessing in disguise for Layla. Bill had made up his mind to do something about this matter.
Oh, Matthias, you know Dr. Etman's son, don't you?
Elsie von Herhart lowered her voice. It was just the two of them at the garden, since Katharina had gone to rest early that day.
Yes, mother.
Matthias nodded calmly.
Kyle Etman, Dr. Etman's only son.
You're right. That kid, Kyle, he's getting married. She's an orphan raised by our gardener. If I'm not mistaken, her name is Layla.
Layla.
Matthias muttered, with no sound flowing from his lips.
It doesn't seem to me that she will satisfy the criteria of the Etmans as their prospective daughter-in-law.
His throat felt a little tight when he heard his mother mention her name.
It's amusing, don't you think?
Matthias then came up with a bland retort.
Sadly, all of grandmother's efforts to find him a good mate have been in vain.
Matias didn't give a further response, but LSE enthusiastically recounted Kyle Etman's marriage story, which had been garnering a lot of snooping in the Arvis estate these days.
Mrs. Etman was teed off with Kyle's decision to marry Layla, since she had been striving for years to get a title from her in-laws' family, which now she was unable to get because of her son's choice. If all went according to plan, rumors said that Layla would marry the doctor's son and continue her education. After they went for their honeymoon in Rats, they would attend college together. Grandmother must be heartbroken. She really adores Dr. Etman's son.
Yeah, she must be.
Matias said.
I feel so sorry for Mrs. Etman. She was a respectable doctor's wife, much more so than them, who were nobles in status. But she lost her hard-earned social standing because of a ridiculous daughter-in-law. What kind of noble would want to befriend a wife who takes a low-life orphan as her daughter-in-law?
The situation may change.
Matias straightened his posture and turned to face his mother.
Because they're not married yet.
Well, Matias, if things could be changed, Mrs. Etman wouldn't have been so depressed like this. As you know, Dr. Etman is a persistent person, and above all, Kyle is completely smitten with that orphan child.
LSE flicked her tongue, expressing her sympathies for the doctor's wife, who was about to be shunned by society as of now.
She's a remarkably pretty girl. It was a troublesome reason why her son couldn't get away from her. I can't believe that girl was able to take over Mrs. Etman's position in such a blatant way. She's a real freak. No, should I say she's smart?
LSE shrugged her shoulders lightly.
Actually, it's absurd to place the blame on her alone. The most foolish is Mrs. Etman's son, who got blinded by a girl and brought disgrace upon his whole family.
After she was satisfied with schmoozing and reaching her desired conclusion, LSE von Herhart finally changed the topic of her talk. Matias, on the other hand, stayed deafeningly quiet while listening to her drone on.
Layla Llewellyn.
That name lingered on the tip of his tongue.